Some of you out there have heard about a USAPA runoff election between Union presidential candidates Phoenix First Officer Eric Ferguson and Philly Captain Gary Hummel. Excuse me, Captain Officer Gary Hummel. I'm sorry, Senior Level Captain Officer Gary Hummel. Some of you out there may also have seen a silly letter from those crazy goofballs Eric Rowe and Elwood Woody Manier of the Compass Correction Coalition. You know, those zany, overtly West hostile, junior-hating, everybody sucks but us, date of hire or bust, USAPA zealots. As you may recall from our last quick turn, Elwood is that very same piece of work that brought you these lovely quotes in an email to a West pilot. The Compass Correction letter, entitled Careless, Reckless, and Cavalier, is itself careless, reckless, and cavalier. Obviously not proofread by so much as a second grader, the sad letter is rife with grammatical errors and typos, not to mention fear-mongering rumors and ludicrous speculative scare tactics. Besides trashing candidates that already lost the election, and of course more West bashing thrown in for good measure, the letter spreads a rumor about a whisper campaign that is supposed to undermine all things USAPA, including date of hire. Allegedly, the Whisper campaign encourages voters to elect West Rep Eric Ferguson for the express purpose of recalling him in order to force another election. Hey, we don't care how Eric gets elected, just vote for the guy. He's the only one, as you'll see in a minute, that will give you a fighting chance to see a new contract in your lifetime. The letter goes on to speculate about all the horrible things a West president would supposedly do if elected, and presumably scares you straight into voting for our hero of the hour, that date of hire savior, Senior Level Captain Officer Gary Hummel. By the way, folks, a little dose of legal reality. Final and binding arbitration was created for the express purpose of solving internal issues before they got to court. An upturned Nicolau Award would undermine all binding arbitrations throughout history and open up a floodgate of litigations. In other words, upholding the NIC is in the best interest of the courts themselves. No bench in the country is stupid enough to overturn the NIC. Well, maybe the ninth. Moreover, by a literal act of Congress, date of hire is now illegal. Let's face it, the previous DOH-obsessed union regime accomplished exactly nothing but a 5-year stalemate. The West has been, is, and will be 100% unified against it forever. Therefore, as long as the nutbags in charge of this union asylum continue to obsess over their doomed to failure date of hire, nothing will change. You will languish under LOA 93 wages in perpetuity. What's worse, as long as the seniority issue remains unresolved, we will all be completely vulnerable to any future merger on the horizon. So here's your two choices. Vote for Hummel, Bradford, and Smizer, an openly arrogant, hostile, and prejudiced regime, and get more years of an LOA 93 contract, seniority stalemate, and future merger vulnerability. In other words, risk everything and get nothing. Or try something new. Give Ferguson, Kuntz, and Holmes a chance to make some real progress and, God forbid, perhaps even deliver unto us an industry-leading contract! Remember, the U.S. Congress tends to work best when it's fairly balanced between right and left. So let's try a union that's fairly balanced between East and West. Because so far, this grand experiment called USAPA has been a dismal failure. Oh, and speaking of failure, after Pittsburgh Airport cut employee parking by 500 spaces, the company opted to issue permits by the golden standard of date of hire. Only one problem. That gives 80% of the spaces to flight attendants and only 20% to pilots. This ersatz union, that means poor substitute for you Compass Correctors, now claims DOH is not fair and want a slotted distribution methodology. Yet another do-over, this time to avoid date of hire. But don't you have to change your union's name first? So back to our brilliant Compass Correction memo. Was it written by second graders, or was it intended for second graders? Or both? And you wonder why these guys stay the lowest paid in the industry. Remember, vote for Ferguson, Kuntz, and Holmes and try someone intelligent and mature for a change.